we can go ahead and get started.
Okay.
We're here for the second SHAC meeting, and this is just a welcome. I'm Aurora Martinez-Jones. I am the chair for the SHAC this school year, and we want to make sure that everybody got a copy of the agenda. It was in the calendar invite. There was also the proposed minutes from our last meeting on September the 21st. As well as the update to the committee overview. There was an error in the first draft that went to you guys, and just wanted to make sure everybody had the most recent update. So wanted just to thank you all for being here. And let's see. Want to make sure we have everybody in. All right. And so I would like to just go through and make sure we have all of our SHAC members here, and also to help with our minutes to account for everybody. Give me just one moment and I will go through our roster, and just if you can make sure that we say here, or we'll see you logged on. I just want to make sure we go through our roster. And Hillary, I just want to make sure that you're also prepared. You've got ready to take the notes on everybody we have here. All right. I do want to mention we did get an email from Kathy Irwin, who said she was not going to be able to make it. So we did hear from Kathy. First, I have Di Dunn. We have Di Dunn today? No, I think we're missing Dr. Jennifer Faulkner. I think I already saw that we have Dr. Jennifer Faulkner. Kathy was going to be out. Rebecca Lastwell, I believe I saw as well. And Kayla Thompson. Yes, I see you. I see you. Dr. Larry Herrera. We have Dr. Herrera. I think Dr. Herrera also told us he has a conflict that we're going to work through. Dr. Monica Faulkner, I see you there. Marlo McShann. You have Marlo. All right. Supriya, Nadu Ferris. You have Supriya today. Oh, I see you. Diane Dunn, I see you. We'll mark you down. Thank you. I'm here. Dr. Robin Honig, I think I saw you as well. Thank you. We've got Hillary, Cornell Woolridge. I don't think I saw Cornell yet. Nope. And then Melissa Vandermeer.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Sorry, it's loud in the coffee shop.
No worries. Thank you. Michael Oda. I don't think I saw Michael. Nope. Kelly, we have Michelle Andrew. There you are. I see you.
I'm in.
Got you. Denise Ray. I see you as well. Thank you. Leslie Winters. Let's see, I'm here. Nope, I think we're missing Leslie. And then Katie. I think I saw you. There you are. I see you. All right.
I'm sorry, Leslie's here. Sorry.
There you go. You're on a different named device. So we do have Leslie Winters. Thank you.
And this is Michael Oda. I'm here as well.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful. All right. So welcome, everybody. I think we've got a good enough group so we can move our work forward today. We're going to move to the second item on our agenda, and I'll turn it over to Hillary for approval of the minutes.
So second item on the agenda is approval of the September 21st, 2021 SHAC meeting minutes. You should have received them by email, and I do believe they are. I'm checking the chat. I think Brian sent a link in the chat. There they are, the minutes from the last meeting. So any changes to the minutes? If not, motion to approve the minutes.
Move to approve the minutes.
Second.
Okay, minutes pass.
All right, we have Mr. Woolridge joining us now too. I want to mark that for our minutes for this meeting as well. All right. So then want to turn over to Ryan Smith. If you can provide us just briefly any updates that you have on board actions based on the administration's response to the last SHAC report and recommendations.
Sure. So we shared the, good evening, everybody, by the way. We shared the 2019 to 2021 SHAC recommendations with the board. I have to check, I think it was 2 or 3 weeks ago in one of their Friday updates. And kind of the next step, I'm about to put a link to them here in the chat so you guys can all see them as well. But kind of the next steps of that is the board reviews the administration's response to the recommendations, and then they will work with our superintendent, work with us to look at any further future board items to address board discussion items to address any of the recommendations that are there. So I think we're kind of waiting to hear back from them as far as a few next steps. But as you'll see in the response, there are several things that we already have in place and work that's already underway. That's aside from waiting on that board response. So I'm just going to put a link right there in the chat, and that will allow everybody to see the administration response to last year's SHAC recommendations.
Any questions?
So just a little bit more background on those. So most of those were kind of the way it works here is Mandy, who had my position before. She took the recommendations and then she farmed out kind of each different recommendation to the various departments that would have a role in leading any of that work. So those are definitely some areas that, if needed, in the future, if we wanted to talk any more about, I could get somebody from that department to come and visit with the SHAC. But just so you know, like a subject matter expert in that field might not be with us this evening, but it could definitely get those questions answered for you. And just one other board update is we do have on the Thursday night agenda this week is a new member approval for the SHAC. So just a FYI on that. We had, I think her name was Dr. Smith, had to resign earlier in the year, and her replacement will be voted on Thursday night.
Thank you. All right. Well, I imagine that it's possible that there may be some questions about the response since we are getting it now. So what I'll just ask and invite our SHAC members to do is, once you review the administrative response to our SHAC recommendations from last school year, if you do have questions that we think might require somebody who is the expert in that area from the administration, if you can let us know. And then I'll work with Ryan to see if we can get that person available for our next meeting to answer any questions that we have. So just feel free to send an email. Any other discussion we want to have on this item? Okay. And so then I wanted to make sure that we kind of just briefly touched base about our timeline for our SHAC responsibilities. Again, we're going to be making a report and recommendations to the board at the end of the school year. I did send you the overview and before our first meeting in looking at that. The main thing I wanted to point out is that in the new year, in January, when we visit again, that's when we would really love to start seeing some draft language on recommendations. And so I know we've already formed our committees and y'all are starting to talk. I've even seen some emails requesting some additional people from the school district to come and visit with individual committees. So I think we're off to a really great start. And we did send out the template to the different committee leads on how to best format recommendations that you will propose from each different committee. And so hopefully with that, the scribe will get a copy of it and y'all can start just really rough drafting some language. We just don't want to get caught short tinkering with language towards the end of the school year and want to start looking at language. So we're all going to come to the understanding that any language we start looking at, especially in January, is probably really rough draft language. But we want to just start looking at some of what is going to be proposed so we can all get on the same page and also make sure that we're not duplicating maybe some efforts through the different committees. Now, I know our Human Development Committee has some heavier tasks to take on. And so if y'all are going to be doing things in a different kind of format as far as your recommendation, please just share with us what that plan is. I know Dr. Monica Faulkner, you already have kind of an idea about what needs to be accomplished. And so if y'all kind of need a little bit of a different timeline, because you have a few additional pieces that have to occur with your recommendation, if you could just share that with us, and having a good timeline of your committee would be helpful as well. Any questions about the timeline? All right. So then next we have a presentation that we thought would be helpful. And I believe we already have our individuals here. Yes, thank you for joining us. And I will say the executive committee met, and we had heard about different things going on in different school districts, shortages on staffing and school lunches, and just different things that were going on. And we felt that it would be really helpful for the SHAC to get an update about what's happening in Round Rock ISD. So if you don't mind, I will turn it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me and allowing me to give you guys this update. I have a few short slides put together, so I'm going to share my screen. And just let me know if you can see this.
Yes, we see the presentation.
Great. Okay. So Angie reached out. Actually, let me see. Oh, there we go. Okay. She reached out to me, and she told me that you guys wanted to get an update on a few different things that are going on in our department: staffing, meal participation, supply chain challenges, and any operational changes we've had to make. So I have a slide on each topic, and I will give you a quick overview, and then I'll take any questions you may have, to discuss things further. So our staffing situation is, it's tough. We do have quite a few open positions, currently at 89 openings. Typically, when the district is fully staffed, we have approximately 360 employees. So that's roughly about 25% in openings throughout the district. Now, the west side, which is the Westwood learning community, and the central side, part of Round Rock and part of Cedar Ridge, they are really affected the most. The east side, we don't see as many openings out there, which it poses some challenges because our district is so large. So when we are trying to move staff around, maybe have some people from the east side go and help out on the west side, we're asking people to drive like 40, sometimes 45 minutes, just to get to a school that may be in like the Canyon Creek area, which is quite far for some of them. So we do try to take that in consideration when asking our staff members to help out in different campuses. But this is sort of our situation right now. I have listed all of the recruiting efforts that we have kind of been doing. We did increase our starting wage this year by 75 cents. The budgets were already done, so this was the best we could do at this point, just to try to attract some more people. Obviously, we've done flyers all summer long, passed them around. We have done recruiting events. We did one at the Round Rock outlets. We did a couple different ones through Indeed. We actually paid for a sponsorship through Indeed. So they advertised our recruiting events, set up in person and virtual like recruiting events for us. However, that was not the best. There was not really, the turnout was not the best. All of our positions are sponsored on all of these websites that I have listed. So we do actually pay for that as well out of our recruiting budget. We do a lot of postings on Facebook groups like Nextdoor apps. Like we do it out of our own personal accounts, just to try to get the word out there that we are hiring. The newest thing that we are trying now is a direct mailing service. So I'm sure you have seen the little postcard size advertisements that you may have gotten in the mail. So we decided to try this out for the West Side area. And just yesterday, 2,800 or a little over 2,800 went out in the mail. So I'm hoping to see some good turnout with applicant, pool for that. We have also done some advertisement through our community partners like the Round Rock Serving Center, the Starry Foundation, Goodwill, the Texas Workforce Commission. And we've had a few applicants here and there, but nothing really major that can make a dent in the number of openings we have. Let's see, and that kind of transitions me into the meal participation. I have a couple of graphs here, and you'll see that, so yes, I have done a chart for each of the different school levels. So you'll see an elementary school, middle school, and high school for breakfast and lunch, and within the first 3 months. Well, for October, it was just the first week. But overall, for breakfast, 21% of our enrolled students are eating, which is a very large improvement versus pre-pandemic times. Our typical overall percentage is roughly about 16%. For lunch, you'll see that 59% overall are eating, and the number in the graph, those are meals per day. So you'll see that each month our meals are climbing up, which is a really great thing. I mean, that is the goal of the National School Lunch Program, is to get more students to eat lunch at school. So that goal we are achieving, absolutely. And to compare this to our overall percentage pre-pandemic, we are typically around 44% district-wide. Now, the percentages do vary from school level to school level. But with that being said, we are serving more meals than we ever have, with a lot less staff than we typically have. So it is definitely challenging. We are making it through, we have had to make some changes that we'll talk about a little later, but they have been pretty minimal we of course don't want to sacrifice the variety that we offer. We don't want to sacrifice the quality of food. So we are doing our best to execute with less staff and more students eating. Okay, so this slide kind of talks about of how this supply chain issues kind of started. Now, if you all remember last school year, even the one before last, when we shut down so abruptly, manufacturers actually, they had to slow down production. We had no students in school or very few students in school, so they could not obviously produce to the capacity that they had before. Now, fast forward to last school year, we had fewer students on campus, which also caused some of these manufacturers to actually lay off people permanently because there was no demand for the products they were producing. And now, starting this school year, things are getting better. We are having almost all of our students back on campus. However, all of these suppliers and manufacturers have had very hard time getting staff back on, on site to start producing. Now, we also have to deal with, COVID outbreaks, maybe shutting down a plant. While dealing with that, we are having this free meal program being available nationwide, and basically the demand just skyrocketed. So manufacturers just like are still trying to catch up and to keep up with the demand, because as you see month to month, it is constantly rising. So our distributors are being cut orders all the time. They are being substituted items as well. And at times we don't even know what we'll get until the day of the order arrives. So so you may get only half of your order, you may get your full order, or you may get a bunch of substitutions with products that you don't typically use. So we did have a little hard time in September adjusting to that, because we had menus printed, everything was already sent out home. Parents were being told that, oh no, that's not what you're serving at school. So we did, we had to do a lot of last minute changes just because we really had no other option. So we try to put it out there, on our website, on our menu website. It does say that the menu can vary. We try to keep it as current as possible, but we are still seeing substitutions. We are still seeing shortages, and I don't think this is going to get better in the next few months. I'm anticipating that we'll continue to see this through the fall semester for sure. Now, specifically for our district, so these are the areas that are mostly affected. There are certain items for breakfast, like the mini pancakes and waffles, some prepared egg products. Cereal is actually a big one. Cisco basically got no cereal whatsoever yesterday, so they couldn't fill our order with what we would typically order from them. So we have some cereal substitutes now. So French toast sticks could be disrupted at some point. We do get a lot of communications from our suppliers and manufacturers through the reps that we work with. So they try to keep us updated as much as possible and as best that they can. So sometimes even if they're anticipating a disruption, they will let us know ahead of time so we can make some changes to hopefully not cause chaos out there, because we know that kids like what they like, and when they are expecting to get something from the line and it's not there, it could ruin their day. So we of course don't want to do that. Now at lunchtime for our lunch menu, we did have some issues with getting chicken products, burger patties, even buns, corn dogs, some potato products. We're still having issues getting some of the additional snacks and drinks that we sell in the cafeterias. But things are slowly getting better. It just takes time, and it is not it's not a switch you can just flip and just get food. The food has to be made, it has to be delivered. I'm sure you have all heard that there is transportation shortages and delays on shipping and everything. Everybody's now saying you gotta get your Christmas shopping done now, because there will be no stuff to buy come December. So it's just taking time. The disposable products are also affected. So it's not just food. 5-compartment trays, surprisingly, are in a shortage nationwide. The company that we purchased from, they actually have switched all of their production to make just one item, and it is the 5-compartment tray, and they still cannot keep up with the demand. Everything has skyrocketed. So we do get sometimes takeout boxes, sometimes paper plates, or styrofoam plates, whatever they can give us, they substitute. So we actually have something to place food on. Well, it's not ideal. It is, at least we are getting something. And with that, these are some of the operational changes we've had to make, mainly reducing the number of offerings. So in the elementary schools, we went from 4 different offerings every day to 3. So we really we cut only one of the hot entrees. Typically, we offer 2 hot entrees, a deli sandwich, typically, and then a salad. So we cut one of the hot entrees just so it's a little easier on the staff, so they don't have to prepare as much. And it obviously food, if we can't get the food, we can make it anyways. So we decided to focus on really what's the most popular items, what are the students' favorites, and make sure that we get those so they can have the lunch they like. Let's see. So we are using some more individually wrapped items, just as, again, ease of service, ease of preparation. There is not a lot of assembling with those items. So just, helps with the labor and the food prep time that it's needed. As far as the operational changes, we have returned to semi-normal service, just for the most part. Students are going through the line, they are selecting their own things. We are continuing to utilize PPE, of course, masks. Everybody wears their masks. We have our plexiglass shields everywhere. The social distance stickers, they're on the floor in front of the line, they're on the tables, marking where students can sit, safely still. Some campuses continue to eat in the classroom. Some utilize outdoor seating if they have that. So service looks a little different from school to school based on how many students they have in person, based on the space they have. But we also have curbside service for our virtual students. It is once a week service, and it's done out of our central kitchen. And the parents can come and pick up a box with the meals for the entire next week for their virtual student. Actually, my management team serves that. I am outside every Friday serving curbside meals. So we don't have enough staff to really be able to execute that in multiple locations. But so far it's been pretty good. People are definitely taking advantage of the service, which is what we want to see. Otherwise it would be a waste of time. But we are trying to, keep our staff happy and engaged as much as possible. We try to give them a break whenever we can, as people will start getting burned out, and we don't want to see that, because we will start losing more. And I'm sure everybody has seen that out there. Every person out there is hiring, and it's hard to compete with the private sector. Let me just put it that way. So, but we are doing what we are here to do, which is feed students. And I'm very proud of my team. They're doing a great job. And that is the last slide that I had for you. I'll take any questions if you have them.
Thank you so much for the presentation. This is very helpful to understand kind of what's going on. So then, is there any questions from any of our SHAC members?
Yeah, I've got a question. I actually work in recruiting myself for a national company, and I know it's very difficult out there right now. And so the question I had was, and this might be really difficult just as far as logistics and all that. Has there been any effort, or is there any ability to maybe reach out to those who didn't return? Because I'm sure you have a number of workers who, with attrition that just left and you're not sure why. Has there been any effort or any ability to reach out to them to find out, hey, why did you leave? Or, what is it that might bring you back? Not necessarily to get them back, because they may just be going off to something else, but maybe to find out what things might be more effective in your recruiting. Because the assumption, and it makes total sense, the assumption is, hey, let's pay more money, or let's do this, and that might resolve the issue. But it might be something else, like, hey, if we could get this benefit over here, maybe it's not money, but if we can get access to this might make this more appealing. So just wasn't sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
To do that.
We did reach out. So right at the start of the school year, we reached out to everyone that left last year because of whatever reason. Some was most of them were really resigning due to health concerns, maybe taking care of families, students staying at home, which was the biggest one. And even once virtual learning was announced as an option this school year, we literally as soon as that was announced, within the next week, we had over, I think, 15 resignations because people wanted to keep their kids at home. And we can't really combat that in any other.
Yeah, there's only so much. Yeah, and that's why I asked, because there's only so much I know that you all can do, especially with the population who usually are working with who have kids at home. And yeah, absolutely.
We also have the demographic that works typically in the cafeteria. Some of them are of age, so a lot of them have decided to retire and they feel like it's not worth working anymore, especially if they do have health concerns. So we had a lot of retirees over the last school year and even into the start of this one. So that's another one. And some have left because of pay, some have left because they're moving out of town. And same thing, we've had people that basically they are not able to live here anymore because everything is getting
rent. And I totally get it. Yeah, so there's a lot of things you all are facing as, again, I definitely relate with some of the work I do. And with that question, I do want to definitely just parrot what other people have said. You all are doing obviously as well as you can. It sounds like you all are doing, as much as possible with the resources you have, not only, within the district, but even the constraints with the supply. I know there's a lot of things you all are dealing with. So thanks for doing the work. It's very difficult work and very important. So thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's Michael or Leslie, but they have their hand up.
Go ahead, Michael.
Is that Michael's device?
It is me. Sorry, we're actually laying sod down so we can run our new grass. So I had a question. Once I heard about the shortages, we're at Round Rock High School and everybody there gets a free lunch. And I know that you want participation, but would it help to get the word out that if kids can bring a lunch from home, they should, so that it would help with supply?
I want to feed every kid out there. So, until we are able to still do that, we will do that. And if we ever are faced, with a situation where we can't, then, we will say something. But as of now, we're still able to get food. We're still able to feed kids. So I want to feed every kid out there. Yeah.
If that comes to that level, will you let us know or let administration know and we can get the word out? So.
Yeah, if we ever get to this point, something will be communicated out. But as of now, we are okay. It's just some things, look a little different.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you.
Leslie?
Yeah, I was wondering if there's been any thought about asking for volunteers, like parent volunteers. I know that there are a lot of parents that are looking and are ready to get back and help in some capacity. And even if it was the packing of the weekend lunches boxes, that could be something at our to think about. I know, like at our charter school that we used to attend, after like 20 volunteer hours, you got to come and have lunch with your student or something like that. So I don't know if maybe throwing an initiative out there, it's like you can come and volunteer and maybe, come have lunch with your student or something like that. I didn't know if volunteering was an option.
Absolutely. So we, of course, we will have to bring this up with, administration, because currently we do have, policy around visitors in the buildings and things like that, just because of, COVID is still out there. So when we see, I can, of course, bring that up to our, committees and, of course, bring that up to the executive leadership. If they, decided that's an option, then absolutely we can take some.
That's great.
Mhm.
Do you know if there's any consideration being made looking at the budget to be more competitive? Do you know if that's a possibility in the future?
Yes, that's, of course. We look at compensation every year, and we, of course, try to be as competitive as possible. And that 75 cents that we went up this year wasn't even, planned. We saw we have some room in the budget, so we just went ahead and did it. And we do that all the time. Like every year we look at compensation.
Any other questions? Yes, Becky.
Yana, I dropped you an email. My girls come home pretty much every day thrilled over what you guys are finding. And I'm sure there are a lot of other parents on the call that would want to say thank you as well. But here's my question that I get from a lot of moms in my neighborhood is that have any of the nutrition standards like fruits, vegetables, that kind of thing changed as a result of all the federal actions, or are you still providing roughly the same nutrition?
Yeah, so the nutrition standards have not changed. However, there are some waivers that can be applied for in the case that you're not able to meet them due to supply chain shortages, which we actually did have to apply for actually a whole grain exemption for the first 60 days of the school year because we weren't able to get certain whole grain products. It was just a few things. It wasn't really, it didn't affect our operations too much. However, there was a time where we couldn't get whole grain hamburger buns and whole grain pizza. So we went ahead and applied for that because we, of course, want to be in compliance always. But really, we only had to use it for a couple items, and it was for a short period of time. So yeah, that's really it. Mm-hmm.
Any other questions or comments? All right. Well, again, I think the sentiment from us all is thank you. Thank you for all you are doing for our kids. We really appreciate, especially in these really difficult and tough times. If there are things that we can do as the SHAC to help, please let us know because that is
Absolutely.
what we're here for.
No, thank you. And we still try, we want to keep it fun. We want to do different things for our students, and we try as much as we can to celebrate the different holidays and, give them something different when we can and do like fun giveaways. We just had National School Lunch Week was last week. So we did, some fun things around that. I personally went and spoke to the students at Summer Elementary during lunch about, school lunch and got to know what their favorite things are. And I mean, we still try to go and engage and, hopefully bring some sense of normalcy back, and definitely are looking forward to being able to really offer our full menu again. And hopefully next semester things will be better.
Hopefully. Thank you so very much. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. So that was a great presentation to get us up to speed on what's going on in our schools. If there are other ideas that any of our members have about another topic that you would like to hear about, please feel free to send an email to me. We plan these out to make sure that we're getting kind of the most up-to-date information to the SHAC for us to decide where we want to focus on, especially when we're thinking about recommendations, but also here to understand what's going on in the schools. Our next agenda item is just to have some general group discussion related to our committee work. Again, we have our Wellness Committee, our Mental and Behavioral Health Committee, our Human Development and Sexuality Committee. And I just want to give each committee a little bit of time. If there's some discussion you wanted to bring back to the big group, I know some committees have already requested some individuals to come from the school district to talk to you a little bit more when we do break out. But this will be our last agenda item unless there's going to be additional items that folks want to talk about before we adjourn and then allow people to break out. We'll do the breakout rooms again. We'll get those set up. And so that once we adjourn, you can just select your committee that you're in And then if you came from the school district to talk a little bit more to a specific committee, if you could just join that committee and spend the rest of the time visiting. I'll start with the Wellness Committee. Anybody from the Wellness Committee wanted to have some general discussion or any thoughts or feedback that you wanted to have with the bigger SHAC?
Hey, it's Michelle. I'm trying to find my notes from the last meeting. I'm scattered tonight. I'm sorry. But we were talking about just kind of school gardens and kind of what we can do to ramp that up. I know it's always kind of fallen on PTA members in the past, and when their kids leave the school, they leave the school, and then it kind of goes into disarray again. And maybe I know everyone's busy. But what we can do to kind of get that going and maintain it. And then I know a big discussion we had last year that kind of fell through the cracks is, and I know I needed to reach out to some district officials. I was going to ask Ryan about that, but students at certain sites being penalized for work that's not completed, meaning they're not able to still take their recess time. So I know that was a big discussion, and that came up with a few people at our last meeting. So I don't know if anyone's on that can really kind of delve a little bit deeper into any of that offhand.
I don't think we have anybody tonight that can probably speak to that, but I can definitely look into that and have somebody join your committee.
Yeah, I meant to reach out to you, so I totally dropped the ball on that, but I'll send you an email too.
Okay.
Thank you. Well, it sounds like y'all are already having some good ideas about the direction that you guys want to go. And so definitely we'll do our best to coordinate and get the kind of individuals that you guys need to your committee meetings. Any other discussion from the Wellness Committee? All right, how about the Mental and Behavioral Health Committee? Do y'all have any open discussion with the full SHAC you'd like to have?
I don't know if we need full discussion, but I think that we were just wanting to continue our exploration and getting real-time data. Also, and wanting to work with the research team and how we can get kind of valid and reliable data instead of just climate surveys, and just wanting to work with that. In fact, I'm working right now with a really good professor at Texas State who can take non-randomized data and turn it into very valid and reliable data. So there may be some techniques that we can use. And we have, I do believe that Dr. Grosso is going to visit with us in our breakout, and we have a list of questions we'd like to explore, and really wanting to open it up with a collaborative environment. We're here to help and provide the feedback that we're hearing from the community.
Thank you. Yes.
I want to let everybody know in what Ryan posted, the administrative response to recommendations, there is a link to a comprehensive behavioral health services report, and that's from all the data for last year broken down by campuses, demographics, all of that. And it includes mental health center referrals, social worker referrals, anonymous alerts, gaggle alerts, all of that. So it's pretty comprehensive and quite a few pages long, but I just want to make sure everybody knows that it's there.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
And I can say too that the annual report that we had been putting together each year for the SHAC, I'm in the process of getting that done. So that's in the works. Just want to let you guys know. It should be just waiting on a few different data sources for that, but that I should be able to share that with you definitely by next month's meeting.
Thank you. Any other discussion in general from the Mental and Behavioral Health Committee? All right. And then Human Development and Sexuality, any update, general discussion for the whole SHAC?
So we're working on trying to follow and implement some legislative changes that are really hard to wrap your head around. But I see Tara's not here. So is there somebody who knows what's going on with the health? You're going to be there, Ryan?
I'm going to join you guys.
Okay.
Yeah,
Is-
I can't promise I know everything that's going on, but I can answer some questions and get details for you.
So I saw on the district response that there was a meeting about the health curriculum class on the 29th. Was anybody from the SHAC there? Because I know some of us, I think, volunteered to be there, but I didn't know about that meeting.
Not sure if anybody on the call knows about that, but I,
Yeah, there were a couple people from SHAC actually at that meeting. I can't.
I think it was just me at the last meeting.
Was it just you, Robin?
Yeah, from the SHAC, it was just me.
Okay, well then we can
Yeah.
get the problem then for sure. Because I think those efforts might overlap and coincide. And so I just don't want to duplicate efforts. But I
Agreed.
want to do what the SHAC is supposed to do. So yeah, we have a lot of work.
and I think there could be some overlap too, that we want to make sure that we're not getting in each other's way around Senate Bill 9. And a lot of the requirements on the different types of training. And we're talking about the potential of courses plus curriculum. So it's two different things that we all need to be doing, of course, but I just want to make sure that at least maybe we could write out kind of what each group is undertaking so we can all be on the same page with that.
Thank you. Yeah, and some of y'all on the SHAC may not know what Ryan was just referring to, but Katie had reached out at the beginning of the year asking about this bill that the legislature had passed in August, and it was SB 9. And so then I had been talking to Ryan, trying to get some information about that. And we do have some questions about which committee, if the district needs to be doing anything in preparation for that, to be in compliance, and if the SHAC wants to make any recommendations around that. Which committee that would go into. I think Ryan and I both feel like it would probably go into human development. But I know Katie was interested in that, and she's in mental behavior health, so we can all connect.
Yeah, I think our committee's been following that all summer.
Oh, good.
So
Yeah.
especially
Great.
Robin's on top of it. So
Fantastic. Thank you.
I have a question, a related question. This is Michael, about House Bill 204 from the 87th legislature. It was supposed to be a K-12 mental health, social and emotional behavioral health curriculum. And I have not heard very much or seen anything on TEA about that. Is that, does anybody know from administration the status
What was
on
that? What was the bill, Michael?
I believe it's HB 204.
From the regular session?
Yes, 87th regular session. It's a mental health curriculum.
I can definitely look that one up. I don't know if somebody else on our team knows anything about that on the call, but
It had
I
before
know
COVID
most of the
hit.
bills that happened over the summer pretty well, but that's one that I'd have to do some research on.
Well, this one was from the last, the legislative session before the last one. So and there were like specific timelines in the bill, and then it never came to fruition.
Are you
So I was
saying
just curious.
from like 2 years ago, Michael?
Yes.
Oh, so 86.
86.
Okay.
Oh, 86. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Ryan, I think that was some stuff that Rochelle Fink, before she left, was working with curriculum, especially how second step, and then some curriculum they were piloting with high schools around some of that. And then I know the new SEL coordinator just got here.
it didn't, if it's from the 86, it didn't pass. Unless it was amended onto another bill, then it doesn't show that it passed.
We will do some checking, and we can get back to everybody on the details on that. Like I said, yeah, we do have a brand new, it seems to be the theme, keep talking about all these people in brand new positions, but we do have a brand new coordinator of social emotional learning also. She's been here a couple weeks. She couldn't be here tonight, but she'll be joining these meetings at times.
All right. Any other discussion? Any questions on our committee work? All right. So then I don't have any other agenda items for the full SHAC unless anybody has some new business that they would like to take up. Anybody have a new business item? Okay. So then do I have a motion to adjourn and break out into committees?
I make a motion to adjourn and break out into committees.
Second.
Anyone opposed? All right, so then all those in favor, raise your hand, thumb up. All right, I think we're all on the same page. All right, so then I've got 6:53. We'll adjourn the full SHAC meeting. And so we can stop streaming and I believe stop